Hey, welcome back to Kitchen Table Conversations. We're your hosts, Chessie.
And Andre?
And today we're going to talk about Multicultural Family Hub and where it came from
Yeah,
and who it's for and why we need it.
yeah.
So, I guess I'll start in that part of the reason, I would say the main overarching reason for Multicultural Family Hub is feeling a sense of loneliness and loneliness in the experience of being a multicultural family. And really, I had like felt this sense of loneliness and not being able to totally pinpoint it. And then our family took a vacation to Miami.
Yummy.
Bienvenidos. So we went to Miami and our
Oh,
daughter, oh,
we
sorry.
went to South Beach.
Sorry, we went to
We
South Beach.
went
We,
there.
we did it, and it was a blast. And I should like back it up. So we live in like very rural Northern California, 150 person town, teeny tiny.
A lot of horses, a lot of
And
cows.
we had we have never taken our family on vacation.
Yeah.
And we have a 9-year-old and twin 7-year-olds, but at this point they were 8 and 6. And we'd never been on
Yeah.
vacation because like just the age of our kids, like going anywhere with twins is bananas. So they were born. It was crazy. Then there was COVID. So it was a long time that we hadn't really left this
Not on a
little
plane.
zone.
Yeah.
And so obviously the first place we would go is Miami.
Why not?
Great idea. And so we get there at like 3 in the morning,
Goodness.
and our kids like wake up in this high rise on South Beach,
Oh.
and their eyes are just like saucers in the best possible way.
Yeah.
And one of the first things that our daughter said to us, and we were walking down, there's like this large boardwalk on
Mhm.
South Beach, and we're walking down the
And
boardwalk, and there's all different
yeah,
kinds
people
of
are
people.
rollerblading, biking, running, walking. I mean, it is just hundreds of people just out and about in the sun. Yeah.
And she said, she got really quiet, and she goes, look at all these caramel skinned people.
Hmm.
And I saw that for the first time, she was being reflected.
Hmm.
And it like cracked my little heart open in this way that I'm like, that was the loneliness, is that she wasn't seeing herself reflected and my family wasn't being reflected. And um, Andre and I have done all this amazing individual work, but that's one side of the coin, and the
Hmm.
other side is community. So, in an antidote to this loneliness and the need to be reflected, and I don't just mean in caramel skinned people, I mean in people that are constantly looking at different cultures, examining the stories that they've been given, people who are always trying to do the best for their children and find the space where they will thrive, recognizing that things are not always black and white because we're blending a ton of things, people that are willing to come at life with a multicultural mindset. And we really wanted to bring those people together.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you were, Andre has had a coaching practice with fatherhood. And so of recent, we decided that we needed to blend, that we needed to work together. And I'd love you to tell your like side of the story with that piece.
Yeah, it's interesting, because when I got into coaching and then when I went into it, as an individual practice, my primary focus was specifically working with fathers, which was it was a great experience and I really enjoyed it. But if I back up, as I was getting trained to become a coach, my coach at the time, the person my master coach I was learning from, I didn't realize it, but it wasn't till kind of near the end of my coach training that, she had mentioned that, her daughter had brown skin, and she had white skin. And then I remember her kind of talking about experience they were having and her trying to navigate it. And I'll never forget, she said to me, remember her saying, like, if I would have had someone with your experience, your life experience, at that time as a coach, I it would have been I would have paid anything to have it because it would have allowed me to have a better understanding of a way to navigate some of these multicultural experiences and the challenges that her and her daughter were going through. And so that was kind of a seed. But I didn't, that seed was there, but then, I kind of went still, I continued down a different path working with fathers. But even as I was working with fathers, I always kind of had that piece in my mind, that like her voice being like, I know how important this is, for how important it would have been for me as a parent, but then how important it would have been for my daughter. And so as I was working with fathers, the other thing that came up for me is just recognizing that it's really beautiful when an individual does their work. And that can have a very, very, very big impact. But when you're working with one half of a team, often a lot of it is an individual doing their work. But then that individual, if they're the only person in that conversation, when they go back into the partnership, when they go back into the marriage, when they go back into the whatever is taking place, there's not a shared point to dialogue and work on together. And so there's a lot of like, I'm doing this, but they're not doing that. And I'm sure it also happens for anyone, any kind of configuration of a partnership where one person is working on something and maybe the other person isn't. There's like, I'm doing this, but they're not doing it. And so in some ways, if both people aren't either individually doing their work or doing their work together, it creates this kind of conflict and tension. And then it kind of builds a little bit of resentment and frustration. So that's when I was like, okay, I think the best solution or the best bang for your buck is when two people or families or multiple members of a group, when they get together and do that work together, then you have constant points of conversation. You have constant check-ins. You kind of have this thing that's moving in the same direction versus maybe someone's going and someone's staying, or you're going apart. And so having that experience led me kind of to believe that I think for me, that my calling was to help support couples of parents of kids who the parents wanted to go on their journey together, with the highest calling being we're doing this for our children, to model for our children. And then also with the layer of realizing how dynamic and how unique being a multicultural parent is, and how you're not given a rule book. No parent's given a rule book, or sorry, no parent's giving a handbook.
Definitely not.
But then there's another layer of when you are the parent of a multicultural child, and having the ability to have access to someone or someone else to question your thoughts and help you work through things and help you kind of pull back on control and all these skills that we go over. It really was something that that I felt like that was not just needed, but that was needed in the world, and that early on in our parenting journey, we wish we would have had. So as it was almost like I wish I would have had you.
Yeah.
When my kids were 1 and 2 and 3. And so hopefully our hope is that by being there and being present for the other people in that journey, that together we now say, okay, we have support. We have a place to have the hard conversations. We have a place to get information, get skills, and then go engage in solutions and problem solving versus just out of pure reaction or based on what the only tools we have in the toolbox, which might be a lot, but they also might not be a lot.
And would you say that both of us are kind of incapable of small talk?
Yeah, no, I'm terrible. I'm absolutely, I have literally been known in social settings to, once it gets to kind of, oh, we're just talking about the weather, I will just put on my blue sweatshirt and I'll go. Or I will go.
That was the code. Is like, it used to be this blue vest that I knew if we were in social situations and Andre was done, that it was like blue vest time, we're going.
Yeah.
And recognizing that so much of your life as within young families, where you're socializing is at like a birthday party,
Yeah.
which is young kids' birthday parties are literally just like,
well,
and just having this like, not for me, I was like never filled in social situations, and that was like the lonely piece, is like Andre and I are always having these conversations about like at this table about like our stories about money, like what does it mean that you grew up like this and I grew up like this? Look at our family dynamics. How is that playing in? And we are always digging into, oh, I just read this book, listen to this concept. And we're always talking in that framework. And those are the conversations personally that nourish me, that I am so interested to hear more ideas and how I can think about things differently to help me feel more peaceful, more free, a better mother, calmer, all those pieces, or heighten what I'm already bringing to the table for my family, or normalize it or decrease shame. I could talk about all those things all day, but like you put me in a social situation where we are like humming and hawing about the PTA, I just like, bam! That is not the conversations that we wanted to be having.
Yeah.
And so I think part of Multicultural Family Hub is creating this space to have the bigger conversations that actually make impact, and not just feeling caught in this like tape and loop of like what's happening or the news cycle or just like the next thing, but really like pulling back and taking a meta view that is actually going to create change in our lives.
Yeah, and I think for me,
I get too excited.
I think socially for me, there's that like, we all have these stories, and I think what it was mine was like, oh, maybe I just don't enjoy extended social situations. And now I'm realizing, no, it was that I wanted to have conversations all the time about things that there isn't overculture. It's like you don't talk about that, or you don't bring that up. And you don't bring it up with other dads, and you don't bring it up. It's like, no, we're just gonna talk about the weather, or we're just gonna talk about maybe how the kids are doing, or we're gonna talk about, oh, what where are you guys going on vacation? And for me, I always had a deep desire to connect with other human beings about the things that really not just impact us, but have that impact down the line, meaning on ourselves, on our kids, and on the other generations. That's always been the space that I can socialize and deep dive in for. I have marathon like endurance for that, and I have no endurance for like,
Chitter chatter.
yeah, it's sunny outside. Cool.
Yeah. So one of the things that we offer in Multicultural Family Hub as a base is this kitchen table conversation that you're listening to, where we explore topics that Andre and I are talking about that are pertinent to multicultural families. We talk about what a multicultural family mindset means. We dig into the stories that our culture tells us about money, about othering, about binary, right and wrong. We talk about how to make friends, what it means to be a friend in this culture, what your culture says about your partner, and like so many different things as this jumping off point. And so Multicultural Family Hub is an online community that we're hosting on this really cool platform that allows you all to connect to one another.
Yeah.
And I've been using this platform and it's so amazing. I've met so many like-minded people that have just enriched my life so deeply
across the world.
Across the world. And so you get to have access to people that also want to have these bigger conversations that allow you to have actual change and not just be frustrated like social media sharing, right? So it's intentional, and the base of it, one of the pieces I should say, is the kitchen table conversation that's available to everyone, but inside the community we get to talk about it and share our own stories and our own insights. It's like a podcast book club in some ways.
And get people's reactions and then get feedback on that, and kind of realizing that sometimes different themes or different things really do land differently for people depending on where you're from or your age or what age your kids are. And so we love that back and forth dialogue, not necessarily between you guys and us, but we get to listen to between each other.
So rich.
We learn a ton and a great deal. So in some ways, you guys coach us in that area.
And then the other thing we offer within this online community is weekly group coaching. I want you to talk about that.
Yeah, and so within the coaching space, one of the things that we have found so beautiful and I've personally benefited from, I've been on the receiving end of individual coaching, but when I was able to access group coaching, which is, more than one person or someone being coached and you're getting to listen in on it, it was such a beautiful experience because you were able to listen to another human being, listen to their process, listen to how they answer questions, and oftentimes it would allow you to really be able to reflect on what you were thinking and what you were feeling, just by listening to your peer or another person share their experience. And so weekly group coaching within Multicultural Family Hub is an opportunity for multicultural parents to come to this platform and get coach and or listen to other people get coached on topics related to maybe issues or maybe tensions or maybe challenges that they're experience as a that they're currently experiencing as a multicultural parent.
So, like, for example, I would be a part of the Multicultural Family Hub community, and I'm like, man, I am struggling so hard right now with my child in school, and they have low test scores, and the teachers are telling me that they need to increase them, and I'm feeling, and my child won't do their homework, and I'm having all these feelings around it. Now, that might not seem like a multicultural challenge, but there is an overculture of school within you make it mean about yourself. And so you bring that, so it's just any tension, right? So I, as a parent, am having this tension. And so I bring it you can tell us, like, hey, I would love group coaching. I would love to be coached this week. You ask Andre, like, hey, this is the thing I'd like coaching on. And then in real time, I would get coached by him via Zoom, or like via the online platform, right? And then it would be accessible to other people watching it, and that are in real time, that are in the community. And the really cool thing is, number one, you realize that we all have so many of the same stressors. And even if it's a different stressor where you're like, oh, that hasn't come up in my life yet, or maybe that never will. But the themes are always so fascinating. And the way that people deal with them, I feel like, just lets you deep dive into your own psychology and analyze your own thoughts and the way that you're moving through the world. And it's really, really powerful. And it's also so supportive, because many times people will reach out to you after being coached and just be like, wow, that was so powerful. Thank you for sharing. I had so many insights. And the vulnerability to share is what creates so much growth. So it's a really, really cool modality.
And within this community, one of the things I think that folks will experience and see that is a pattern is there are things within our lives, there are things that we are trying to overcome, or conflicts or stretch tension that you might not on the surface think that culture has anything to do with. And as we go through coaching, you will realize very, very often, most of the time, either the overculture, the culture you're living in, or the culture that you came from is having a very, very large impact on why something is creating tension. So that's our intention with this type of multicultural mindset coaching, is to help you develop the skill to recognize, is this really Andre, meaning me, or is this part of a culture that I am trying to impose on this that's creating tension and conflict?
And most of the time, it's a combo of both.
Lots of combo of both.
Because we're all about, it's rarely is it one thing or the other.
Yeah. So we're excited.
So in our community, so you've got the kitchen table conversations, you have the weekly group coaching, and another thing that we offer is monthly workshops on topics, so we can keep learning and growing together.
And I'm really excited about the monthly workshops, because instead of having a set scripted, we're going to do this, what happens, especially with coaching and listening to you guys interact with each other, there are certain things and challenges that are going to come up over and over and over again that we get to go, okay, this is one in the community that a lot of people are experiencing. And then we get to kind of help in the workshop setting, allows us to do a deeper dive into what's going on, what are the mindset tools we want to apply here, and then allowing you guys to create the beautiful, joyful, problem solving, creative techniques that work best for you and your family.
And when you do that, you're at that work for yourself where we facilitate, then you do that own work. Those answers are the ones that stick with you. And when you do the work, you always find the right solution. So we will start with workshops like a multicultural mindset, what to do with your fears and anxieties about the world, how to connect with your multicultural children, and tools for creating a peaceful, joyful family life right now.
Yeah.
So we are so excited to share those with you and to be able to dive deep and give you those tools so that you continue to see growth week after week, month after month. So not just growth within yourself, but feeling supported by the community. So it's always this both and. It's like I'm doing my personal work and I'm also creating this like really gorgeous community that is supporting me and understands me, and just feeling this sense of
Yeah.
And so we've gone through kitchen table conversations, weekly group coaching, monthly workshops, and then we'll also have prompts for connection. So just questions that will help you guys connect, because sometimes it's scary to reach out to someone, or you're like, ooh, I've seen them post a lot and they're like cool, and I don't know if I should reach out to them. But just this really like icebreakers, and we as hosts, our job is just to help open up the space. And then you guys get to make these gorgeous connections and create the community. So we are co-creating this beautiful space.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah. So one of the reasons that we decided to do this right now is it feels like we just kind of talked about our own feelings of loneliness and also just like the rise in anxiety.
Yeah.
The rise in anxiety in the world. We are like all bombarded with so much information. And for me, there's like so much worry about future for my kids. And am I doing the right thing? Not feeling supported in doing the right thing, or feeling overwhelmed. All of these, I would say kind of overwhelming emotions. And that right now, the spaces that are out there to connect, still feel like there's a back and forth in anxiety versus a true connection and grounding.
Well, we know we're not meant and we're not built to live in anxiety in fear long term. It has psychological, spiritual, emotional, negative impacts. And so with Multicultural Family Hub, what we are intending to do is, as a community, by sharing tools, by sharing experience, by sharing stories, by sharing solutions, it allows us to create a place that's rooted in creativity, using a multicultural mindset and framework to come up with our own unique, beautiful, dynamic, and joyful solutions to the challenges that do exist in our life and that they do exist in the world. We're not ignoring them, but we're saying if we can move out of anger and fear and move into flexibility, creativity, beauty, joy, we're gonna come up with solutions that have an impact on our life right now, but more importantly, at least for me, has a lasting impact for the generation that's coming up after us and continues down the line.
And I want to say like personal experience. So before Multicultural Family Hub, we have a flower farm, and I have been so impacted by creativity and beauty. And when you move forward with a community that involves creating things and making them beautiful, holy moly. So in creating a flower farm and then sharing it with the community, we live again in a really rural space. There's like 15,000 people tops in our whole county, which is about the size of Rhode Island. So, like, our county space is about the size of Rhode Island. And in creating this flower farm, um, just connecting people from all over this like really large geographic space and in a small amount of people, just the impact, like any workshop I had that was about growing a certain kind of flowers or floral arranging, people came from all over the county, would travel for hours to get here to see how to create more beauty. And I feel so blessed to have witnessed the power in moving forward with creativity and the healing. So one of the reasons we started the flower farm was because there was a fire that destroyed my hometown completely. The Dixie Fire in 2021 came through, and we wanted to do something beautiful in our community. And the healing that that creative act brought to myself, to others in the community, um, it is it has been life changing, and I can't wait to bring that similar energy in creation and healing and connection to Multicultural Family Hub.
Yeah. 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 We do believe in the power of creativity and the power of beauty and art when we move forward. And so we're very excited. We're very excited for this artistic endeavor with you and others and coming together. Because we know when creatives and artists come together, man, who knows what's going to come out of it.
So this community is for multicultural parents with children who believe and want to create a really connected, beautiful future for their kids and do it using a multicultural mindset, do it in community so you feel supported, who are willing to do really hard work. And I'm not kidding. It's like it is hard when you dig into the stuff and the stories, it can bring up a lot of emotions. And that is why we're here together, so we can hold each other with that. And so, like I said, it's always two things. It's you doing the work of digging in and saying, like, ooh, is this serving my family? And questioning your actions. And so many of the pieces that can be challenging, but then you have this like gorgeous net that says, like, hey, we've got you and you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
So we are excited to launch our community soon in June. We are in the middle of moving from rural Northern California all the way across the country to Savannah, Georgia, like right now. We are moving in about a month, and we have 3 young kids and a dog. We are selling a house. We're getting rentals. We're going from homeschooling to a school situation. So we are doing like all these wild, heavy lifts. So stay tuned because we're going to talk about some of the things we're learning as we're moving too. So keep an eye out for the community. Please share this with someone if you feel like they might be interested in it.
Yeah.
And we will talk to you soon.
No, we can't wait to meet all of you.
Bye.
Bye.